Happy birthday.
Thank you
Happy
very much,
belated
Sona.
birthday. I actually brought you some wine from Armenia.
Armenian wine.
Armenian wine. It's from a village called Voskevaz, from Voskevaz Winery.
Red dry wine. It's dry? Oh.
Were you ever afraid when you interview controversial figures that somehow your interview could actually change the course of history?
I never thought about it ever.
Really?
All I thought about was to ask good questions, inquire. My number one thing is curiosity. Curiosity drives me, has since I was a little kid. I am curious about everything. And so my curiosity, but I have never thought, is this going to change the world?
Yeah.
No, I never did.
But with that said, you got a president elected tangentially with Ross Perot.
I did. I got Clinton elected. I got Ross Perot changed that election.
And Ross Perot announced on Larry's show, through the very unique Larry King discussion that he had with Ross Perot, that got him to, in real time, if you watch that interview, in real time, Ross Perot considers running, debates with himself,
And then says, at the beginning of the show, a friend of mine told me he thought Ross Perot, very billionaire businessman, was going to run for president. So for the first thing, I said, are you going to run? No. Halfway through, I'm sensing something, I said. And at the end, he said, I tell you what, you put me on the ballot in all 50 states, and I'll run. Let's see something in the game. Put some skin in the game. And when we were leaving, he said, you think anything's going to happen from this? And then he called me the next day and said the bellman at his hotel gave him $10 to run. And that started it. And then a week later, Dan Rather on CBS did a whole report about my interview with him, and it spun. And for a long time, he was leading in that race.
And of course, the triangulation of that race on the right of center voters got Clinton elected.
But that has to create some sense of responsibility.
Yeah, but I guess the one time I thought about, I'm going to interview Yitzhak Rabin, Yasser Arafat, and King Hussein of Jordan all at the same time.
That's intense.
And they were all in different places. Hussein was in Amman, he was in the West Bank, Arafat, and Yitzhak Rabin was in Jerusalem. We got his satellites. So that was kind of nice and thrilling, but Kissinger called me. Henry Kissinger, and he says, young man, you are about to understand diplomacy. You are conducting diplomacy. And that gave me
Yeah.
But once the light went on, I never thought about a worldwide, or this is epic. They were three gentlemen, and we were talking about problems.
Did you ever feel adverse effects to any of that?
Feel what?
Did you ever feel any negative consequences to being outspoken about your political views? Or...
No, because I never gave my political views.
Yeah.
I never gave. I give them a little now on my new show. It's
Yeah.
been 6 years now. We've done 1,000 shows already. But I never gave opinion.
I think perhaps one of the only times I really saw you get worked up in an interview is when you were interviewing the president of Iran, and he was questioning...
Because he drove me crazy. There's a part of me liked him. He was he was so, he was not dislikable. The whole people around him, I had a funny thing leading up to, I don't think you even know this. I had to meet with the representative of Iran. They didn't have an embassy, but they have in Washington an office. So I went to his office. And I'm talking, he's setting up the interview. There's 4 Chagall paintings in the Iran thing. So as I'm leaving, I said, those are beautiful paintings. He says, yes, we admire them. I said, you know, he's Jewish.
And he's buried in Israel.
And he goes, I didn't know that, but I said, you know, he's Jewish. And the guy goes, what? I love Chagall.
Wow.
He's Jewish. He didn't know he was Jewish. I don't know if they're still there. Anyway,
They might have been taken
but
down.
what bugged me about that guy was when he was very interesting. I don't know what he's in the government there somewhere now, but he's. So we're talking about the Holocaust. And he says the important thing in interviewing is listening. Listening is as important as what you ask. So he says in the middle of the interview, he said, "Tell me, Mr. King, if there was a Holocaust, why isn't Israel in Poland? The crime didn't occur where the Palestinians are. The crime didn't occur in Palestine. The crime occurred in Poland and Germany. So why didn't they divide up a piece of Poland and give it to Israel? A piece of Germany, divide that whole thing up, they're attached. Make the Israel, they won't have to move, and that's a state." I said, "Did you say if there was a Holocaust?" That started it.
Yeah.
He said, "Yes." Oh, wait a minute. Are you saying if that? So that's the only time I got ticked off.
Well, as you can imagine, the same reaction you had to if, there was a Holocaust, I have the same reaction to genocide denial because Turkey still denies the Armenian genocide. And a couple of years ago, when I asked you to take a photo with me in commemoration of the genocide, you didn't hesitate. You knew you would get some backlash because of that photo, and yet you didn't hesitate. Why?
Well, the late Kocharyan was a great friend of mine. I used to have lunch with him every 2 weeks at the Wilshire. Every 2 weeks. Corner table. He was a wonderful, generous, lowest ego I ever knew. And he had no ego. And no interest he didn't do interviews, no biography. And he was a great Armenian for the Armenian cause, so he really embedded me of what the Turks did.
Yeah.
So I would have no hesitation.
Yeah.
I got in trouble because I was in Azerbaijan. I made a speech there. The people were very nice to me. They flew me in, and then I met the president of Armenia, who invited me to come to Armenia, all expenses, and I accepted, and they sent out a press release that I'm going to visit Armenia, and I get death threats from Azerbaijan. I knew then it was a little serious.
Yeah.
These people take things very seriously.
They do.
One guy said, "We're going to behead you." And that's where I want to go. If I'm beheaded, I want you to handle that.
I'll take care of it. I think that one of the things about Larry that is apparent in this interview, and is always apparent, is, and I'm going to praise him with him sitting right to my left, but he sees everything through the prism of what's right and wrong. And if it's right, he will find a way to get there because he's a noble soul. And that's the way he sees things.
Integrity is the first word that comes to my mind when I think of.
It's not, he doesn't.
I never think about it.
He doesn't factor in the extenuating circumstances. I can't imagine, as well as I know him, before he takes a real position for him to say, is this good for my career?
Right.
Is he going to take the position and say, is this going to, piss off part of my fan base? He takes the position because it's the position he feels is the righteous position. And I think through the journey of his career, people feel that.
Yes.
And it's a big part of why he is who he is.
And we trust
That's
him.
it. I praised you enough for one breakfast. I'm done.
Okay, I'll continue the praise from here. Yeah, I think
How
we
much
all.
more? Okay, what do you want? What more can I give you, Sona?
I think we all are, because anyone who has spent any time with you feels that way. And I never took any of the time that we had together in studio for granted. I mean, every second I got, every time there was a chance, I was like, okay, Larry, so how was that interview with Putin? How did you think to ask this? How did you
Sona,
think?
why aren't I younger? Why aren't you single? Why? Let's go to those things. That's the other side of Larry.
And see, I complimented him so much that he felt, okay, let me throw her a compliment. That's what that was, right?
That's more than, hey. Oh, that's right. You're not attractive. Sona, Thank you very
Great
much.
to see you. I hope to see you both again soon.
Thank you. for
Thanks so
coming.
Say
much.
hello to your husband, the doctor, and the musician.
Is he Armenian, born and raised?
Yes, yes, he is.
So at home you speak Armenian.
I do.